Hey neighbors, I am so thrilled you could join us today. We've got a real treat for you. This week, we're diving into a dish that's as comforting as it is timeless, chicken a la king. This classic dish has satisfied appetites and brought smiles to dining tables for over a century. But do you know how chicken a la king actually earned its royal title? And it's different than the way Meghan Markle earned hers. Chicken a la king has a disputed lineage, just like Meghan's, with several cooks claiming its tradition. Some attribute it to a gentleman named William Bill King of Philadelphia back in the 1800s. Another cook who served it to a wealthy owner of Domenico's restaurant in New York also claims to have created the restaurant around the meal around 1880, 1890. So the only thing that's not in dispute is that it is an amazingly easy and quick dish that quickly became popular among the wealthy populace back in the early 1900s. So we're going to make that dish today, but before I do that, I have this amazing guest coming on. Joining us today on the show is a spirited and amazing community person, Lauren Wolfer. She is the Outreach and Advocacy Director of Cook Alliance. Now, Cook Alliance is at the forefront of championing micro-enterprise home kitchen opportunities. MECOs. I knew I was not going to get that right perfect, but I think I did. A revolutionary movement that's empowering food entrepreneurs just like me to be able to earn income right from their home and cooking with the love in their kitchens. Cook Alliance stands for fostering sustainable livelihoods, heartfelt community contributions, and homemade culinary delights, advocating for fair legislation that brings scrumptious local flavors from the heart of a home chef right to the table of our neighborhoods. So please welcome Lauren Wolfer.
Hello, hi, thank you, Mitch. So happy to be here.
Thank you, so glad that you're here.
I am a fan of the show and I'm very excited to be here.
I am so excited you're here too. You and I cross paths everywhere in this town.
We do.
We're always busy doing something. We sit on some commissions for the city. You're very involved in the Democratic Committee. Get out and vote. Get out and vote. Register.
That's right. Send your ballots.
Send your ballots, and we've got to. You know what we got to do. So, and now you've started this new job, and it's so exciting. Tell us about it.
Thank you. Yes, it is very exciting. This is something that's been a passion for me for a while. So to be able to do this full time is really a dream come true. But you basically nailed it. So microenterprise home kitchen operations, we call them MICOs for short. Now this is a new type of food facility. So it's a new permit basically that our organization got the legislation passed that created in 2018. So yeah, I mean, essentially the way you described it is perfect. It gives people the opportunity to sell homemade food out of their kitchens, which people are doing already, right? I mean, like that's
guilty.
I can tell you, my favorite thing is like homemade tamales, and I cannot even tell you how many illegal tamales I have purchased in my life, and they're always delicious. But this is something where it legitimizes that work because it is real work and it's valuable, and people that are doing it, like you, like deserve that opportunity.
Well, my specialty is I do meals for LGBTQ seniors.
Mm-hmm.
So I either go into their homes or I prep here and I make their food here and then I deliver it so that they can have healthy food in their homes at a lesser cost than almost any other choice, and certainly better than unhealthy microwave foods.
Right, that's incredible. I mean, exactly. It's like this not only gives people opportunities to start a business where they might not otherwise have that pathway, it also increases everyone's access to like fresh, amazing food. Right? So it's a win-win idea, and I'm really excited to be involved.
Now, you were sharing with me before the show that there's a grant or grants that you're going to start providing or offering to people who apply. Tell us about the grant.
Yes, so we have a lot of new programs and resources that are launching soon. One that I can talk about today, we're being a little secretive. We have our Home Cooked conference on March 20th. We can talk more about that later. It's a free online conference. I'd love for you to join, and anyone that's interested in knowing more about MICOs should come and check it out. So we have a lot that we're unveiling. But our education program is called Cook Academy, and it's an 8-week online course. You can like watch the videos at your own time. It's very low pressure, and at the end of this 8-week course, you learn basically everything you need to know about starting your own eco business or just scaling it, even if you already have a business like that. And then at the end, there's a $3,000 grant to either start or scale your business.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
so
we're excited.
you know, for a lot of you, if you don't realize, it's expensive to start a restaurant. There's reasons that people never start restaurants, and there's reasons there's so many failures. So your organization is going to help the wannabe entrepreneur, chef entrepreneur, to build that business or start that business, or at least have the tools and knowledge to start that business.
Yeah, you know, the average cost of starting a restaurant is like $200,000.
Yes.
And a food truck, I mean, food trucks have always been considered this accessible option, but that's like $50,000.
It is, because you got to outfit it. You know, you can't just go buy a truck and then hope you can do it. There's a lot that goes inside.
Yeah.
Functionality-wise, a lot in a truck because it's so small and compact. So everything's got to be, you've got to plan out exactly what you're selling and have the tools available to you easily. Well, that is so exciting. So you like to cook.
I love to cook.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard. I love everything. You know, I am a pasta fiend.
Okay.
So I think that's probably my favorite, but I love to cook. I love to eat.
Well, there's so much you can do with pasta. I have a show, we did 5 sauces in one show in 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And so we started with, you know, a basic red, and then we added meat, and then we went to a vodka sauce, and then, you know,
great.
and so we showed how you start with that base of just the red sauce, how to make a good red sauce, and then how many auxiliary sauces you can make from that red sauce.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun, and you'll have to watch it. It's a fun show. It was a big pasta show. It was a lot of pasta. Well, today we're making chicken a la king. Have you ever had it?
Oh, yes. I love it. That is such a classic.
It is a classic, and you know the nice thing about it, in fact, there's so many things you can do with chicken a la king. Like you can make it as we're doing. We're going to make this sauce with this chicken and all these great ingredients, and then we're going to put it over these fresh rolls that we made. You could put it over pasta, you could put it over potatoes, you could put it over quinoa, rice. I mean, really, there's no end to what you could put it over. Or it could just be like a stew, like a thick chicken soup.
Sounds good, yeah.
But that would be really rich. And it's super easy to make. You can also use it to make a pot pie.
Oh.
So you could take the chicken a la king, put it into a container, and then put your crust over the top and bake it in the oven. And you're just really waiting for the crust to brown, and then you've got a pot pie.
Oh, that's a great idea. I never thought about that. Wow.
A million ways you can make it. So I'm going to go over the ingredients. I'm going to have you come over here, and we're going to bring the ingredients over here in a minute for you, but we're going to come down here and look at our ingredients that we have for today. So in this recipe, we're going to use a stick of butter, which is a half a cup of butter. We have a half a cup of all-purpose flour. We have a cup of chicken broth, or any type of chicken broth that you want to make. You can make it from cubes if you want. I use my own stock. We have a cup of heavy cream. You could also use full fat milk or half and half. We have about a pound of sliced up mushrooms. You can combine different mushrooms. You could use porcini, white, whatever type of mushrooms you like. I have a combination in here. We have some pimentos, just a small jar, some garlic that I'm going to mince up, some onions that we're going to saute, peas, some sherry, nutmeg, pepper, salt, thyme, and olive oil, and some parsley for the garnish. Sound good? Sounds good. All right. So I am going to give you this, we're going to put the olive oil in, and hopefully that light's not too high. No, but it's cast iron skillet. And I'm going to have you start by sauteing the onions. Okay. We don't want to get them caramelized, so keep them moving in the pan.
Got it.
We're just going to get them so they're a little bit clear, all right? And here's a couple of tools for you if you need them. I'm also going to put the rest of these ingredients over here that you're going to be using. The mushrooms and the chicken stock. Beautiful. And the flour. Now, chicken a la king is all about the sauce. So we are making the sauce first. The other thing I forgot to mention is we have a whole rotisserie chicken that I just pulled off the bones and shredded the meat. You know, you can go to Costco for $4.99 and get a whole chicken and feed a family of 4, and it costs you $1 a person for the protein. So that's pretty economical. And cost effective. We're going to cut up some of these garlics that Lauren's going to put in. I like a lot of garlic. The recipe calls for 4 garlic cloves. I like lots of garlic. So, and since I'm the chef and it's my kitchen, that's what we're going to have.
My dad would always say there's no such thing as too much garlic.
It's true. You know, and with all of these ingredients, you're really in charge. You're deciding move my sherry over here before I spill it all. You get to decide, like in this recipe, you typically won't find in a classic chicken a la king nutmeg. I think it gives it a little bit of earthy flavor along with the sherry. You also may not find sherry in a classic recipe, but I like sherry also. It helps to take away that roux flavor. There's our garlic. Oops, sorry. And we're also going to add the mushrooms.
Beautiful.
We might turn that up a little bit. Get it going. There we go. So what we're not trying to do is create super brown mushrooms. We're just trying to get clear onions and soft mushrooms that go into it. So that just adds a little bit, and you want bigger mushroom pieces because it adds a little bit of texture and balance in the recipe. So have you ever made chicken a la king?
No, I never have. I'm going to now.
You're going
I'm
to
adding
now.
this into my repertoire.
Well, the nice thing is it's all in one pan, so you're not having to make 20 pans to make a mess in your kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you're cooking, it always looks easy because I have everything prepped, and that's not an unusual way to cook. You should prep. There's a word for it, and the word is called mise en place. It's a French word that one of the first things I learned in cooking school was mise en place, and that means have all of your ingredients in place. It makes your process much easier. Sounds impressive. But it just means have everything in place.
It makes you feel like you really have your life together.
It does.
Yeah, you have everything in the little bowls.
You do, and it lets you clean up before you start making the mess, right?
Right.
And so it's a much easier way to do it, and it's more enjoyable, and you become more comfortable with all the ingredients that you're putting in. So how are those coming along?
Looking good.
You turn it up a little, you think?
Yeah, I think so. Onions getting clear. We're still waiting on these mushrooms to get soft, but they're coming.
That's all right.
They're getting there. It already smells amazing.
So we're going to make so typically a roux is just made with flour and butter. We're going to make it with flour and butter, but we're going to keep the mushrooms and the onions in place as we're making it. So the first thing we're going to do is put in the half a cup of butter. So we're going to mix that in. Go for it. A stick of butter.
There we go.
That's about the most fat that we're putting into the dish, so it's not too bad. All in all, when this is done, we're coming in at under 700 calories for this dish per serving.
Oh, that's great.
So it's really healthy for you.
All the butter and the cream?
Yes.
Wow.
Because you're splitting it up among 4 people.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
so it's really just a couple slices of butter per person. And the same with the cream. The cream, like I said, you don't have to use heavy cream. You could use milk, full-fat milk. You could use half and half, or you can use the heavy cream. So, you know, you can continue to bring the calories down if you want to. Look how beautiful that's coming along. So as I was saying, roux is typically made just with the flour and the butter, and you kind of cook the flour down because you want to lose that flavor of the flour that you're creating. You could use cornstarch as your thickener and do away with the roux, but when you compromise on some things, you compromise on flavor. So just know that if you don't want to use the heavy cream and you don't want to use the flour, you could make this sauce with milk or half and half. You could forego the flour if you have, you know, any type of food allergies for flour, gluten, things like that. You could also use, a gluten-free, you could use a wheat flour if you really wanted to, but again, you're compromising on flavor. This is a typical French dish. This is one of the first dishes I learned to make when I went to the Cordon Bleu.
Oh, really? Aww,
So,
that's cool.
because it was all about sauce. Everything was sauce, 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 sauce. You had to learn how to make 5 sauces before you could move on.
Wow.
So until you have the sauces down, and let me tell you, you think Gordon Ramsay is tough. Work in a French kitchen where you've got somebody who just throws your stuff away and goes, that's horrible. And you feel so bad. So we've got that going. Now we're going to add our flour.
All right, does that look good?
Yep, so we're going to make a roux now. All right, so you're going to slowly mix this in, fold it in so we don't get any lumps. It's going to become very thick. You don't have to use the full half cup right away if you don't want to. But we're just gonna fold that in and it's gonna get super thick.
Right. Beautiful. Oh, I can tell this is gonna be so good.
And again, the reason we're cooking this off is because we want that flour. Flour has a very distinct flavor, and so we're cooking that flour flavor out by making this roux and cooking the flour.
Oh yeah, it's thickening up for sure.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, look at that go.
So we'll add a little bit more. And remember, you can never necessarily make it too thick. You can always water it down. And with chicken broth or with milk or with cream or water, there's all kinds of ways that you can thicken this down. Thin it up. And if it becomes too thin, you can also add some chicken broth at the end to thin it down. The other thing you have to be careful about when you're making this is if it sits too long before you serve it, you might find that it gets a film on the top because it kind of coagulates from all the butter and creams. So keep it warm, keep it going warm in your pan. You could also probably make this in a crock pot and just throw all the ingredients in, but I would make the roux first and put this into the crock pot.
Oh, that's a good idea.
As your base. And then you could save yourself a little bit of time and it could cook all day.
You could come home to chicken a la king.
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
scrape all that good stuff off that cast iron on the bottom. You need a wood spoon maybe? Wood. I don't know. Come on. There we go. Yeah, scratch. Scratch it off.
All right.
All the best bits are always on the bottom of the pan when you're cooking in the cast iron. I just recently pulled my cast iron skillet out of storage. I was using my regular copper pans, and one of my clients had a cast iron, and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about my cast iron, and I love my cast iron.
I love it too.
All right, so we've got that going. So now we're going to add in our chicken broth. So we're going to slowly add in that chicken broth.
Look at that.
You
That
don't
roux
want
is
any
just
lumps.
drinking it up.
Yep. Keep adding it. Good sauce takes patience, without a doubt. And this is no different. Continue.
Yeah, that's coming together. Look at that.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And some more chicken stock. There we go. And now we've got a nice creamy roux there. No lumps. So the next thing that we can add in is our heavy cream. This is a cup of heavy cream. We're going to slowly add that in because of the heat. We don't want it to curdle. There we go. Keep adding. Look at that sauce. Whew.
Oh, it looks so good. That is creamy.
That is creamy goodness right there.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
All right. We're probably going to need a little bit more cream or chicken stock. Since I have cream sitting here, we're going to use cream. There we go.
Beautiful.
All right. Now comes the fun part. So this sauce has basically no flavor yet. So now we need to add some flavors in. So we're going to start off. A little spoon here, a couple spoons. All right, so definitely needs spice. All right, so we're going to add our pepper in. We're going to add some salt. Let's try it with another spoon. Now it's getting some flavor, all right? So the next thing we're going to add in is the sherry. And the sherry will cook off. You don't have to worry. It will cook off as it's because of the heat.
That smells so good.
Oh my gosh. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit of nutmeg.
You know, I feel like nutmeg is such an underrated spice.
It is. People don't use it. People think of it just for like one or two things, like, oh, it goes on my yams at holiday time.
Right. But it adds. I don't know. How would you?
It adds depth.
Yeah.
So taste that. See what you think.
Oh, that's good.
Good, huh?
Oh, that's so good. Yeah.
And see how easy that is?
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing we're going to add in are our peas. That's about a half a bag of frozen peas. Our pimentos.
Ooh, pimentos. See, that's another underutilized ingredient. I don't know about you, but I am a nut for pimento cheese.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. And I had a southern grandma, and so I always had the pimento cheese sandwiches growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, I lived in the South for like 15 years. And it was learning that food, and I found when I lived in the South, what I noticed was everything was served in a different dish. Like vegetables are one dish, potatoes another dish, the meat was on a plate, because they don't like to mix their foods together. I'm like, it makes sense, it's too many dishes.
I know, right?
Flo, take some of this away, my God. And then we're gonna add, well, we're gonna taste that first, flavor.
You know, it's funny too. I found out that pimento cheese is a big thing in the Filipino community.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I
You know,
didn't
my
know
partner's Filipino, and you know, we did the Filipino festival last year, and yeah, they do it on like rolls, like pandesal rolls with either the pimento cheese spread in it. They're so good.
And then the last thing we're going to add in is a little bit of thyme. Go.
Yes. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I see what you mean about the chicken pot pie.
Yep.
Totally.
So that can be your filling for your chicken pot pie.
Totally.
So if you're a mom, you can make this up, and you can make 4 or 5, 6 pies, whatever you want to make out of it.
This feels like such a good like freezer dish, you know, because like you were saying, like you can do it over noodles, you can do it over quinoa. There's so many ways you can eat it.
Right.
That it'd be such a great thing just to portion out and have in the freezer.
Absolutely, and you can freeze this, so you can keep this in your fridge unfrozen for about 3 days in a Tupperware dish, and you can freeze it for about 2 weeks. If you put it into those freezer bags, those little sealer bags to take all the air out, then you could just pop it into boiling water to heat it up.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Or put it into the microwave.
It's beautiful.
Look how pretty that is. Let's have a final taste. Let's see that nobody's going to die from it. Oh my God, so good. Okay, so let's pull the pan over here.
Should I turn the burner off?
Please. And then we're going to serve this up in a bowl. We're going to start with a roll. So we just made some nice rolls, some fresh rolls. We're going to put it in the bottom. Spin this right up on top. There we go. We'll roll off to the side. A little bit of parsley.
Look at that.
And there we go. Chicken a la queen. All right. So, you want to give it a taste?
Yes.
All right.
Please. Oh, good. All right.
There we go.
I want to get some of this bread in here too.
Good?
That is so good. Oh, that is good.
Yay! Well, that wraps up another appetizing episode of Neighbors Cooking. A huge thanks to Lauren Wolfer, our
thank you, Rich.
inspiring guest from Cook Alliance, for sharing her passion and insights into the heartwarming world of Makos. We'll add a link in for your website so people can know more about it. Your dedication, Lauren, to food, entrepreneurship is at the grassroots is inspiring, and I'm so thankful that there's people out there looking after people like me.
Well,
So
thank you.
Thank you so much.
We have so many amazing cooks in Palm Springs.
We do.
We need more Mikos, you know?
We do.
This is a great opportunity.
It is.
So, and I'm so glad you're doing it.
To all our home cooks and food aficionados, remember you're a vital ingredient in our foodie family. Show your love by hitting the like, sharing our show, and tagging us in your culinary adventures. And don't forget, whether you're craving a quick snack or a grand feast, all of our recipes are just a click away on Facebook and on YouTube. Stay hungry for more flavors, more connections, and more community. Until next week, keep the stoves lit, the tables full. Bon appetit, and we'll see you next week in the kitchen. Thank you. Mwah.